a large part of the cause for the mess in which we are today is because of the world in which we live today, which is different from yesterday, in which a people are pursuing a relentless struggle with unceasing oppression and with a mountain of lies to impose their rule over all of mankind, so that they can then deliver that to the state of Israel. Is that so difficult to understand? Is it possible for us to unite when they want to rule us? They want to rule the whole world, and Russia must bend its knee, and China must bend its knee, and Iran must bend its knee, and Venezuela must bend its knee. Is it possible for us to unite? Unless and until we understand what is the reality which confronts us today. Does the Quran explain that reality? Allah speaks, subhanahu wa ta'ala, about a town. He does not mention the town. He does not identify the town. But he says, وَحَرَمٌ عَلَى قَرْيَةٍ أَهْلَكْنَاهَا أَنَّهُمْ لَا يَرْجِعُونَ. He destroyed the town. He expelled the people of the town. He then placed a ban on them that they could never return to that town. They could come back as tourists, no problem. But you can never return to this town to reclaim it as your own until حتى إذا فتحت يأجوج ومأجوج. Remember the word futihat. Until Gog and Magog are released. And then the Quran goes on to say, to speak of an event which will occur only once in history. It never occurred before, and it will never be repeated again. A people who are so powerful that Zulkarnain had to build a wall to protect the people from them. That's their power. A people who use their power to oppress and to corrupt. Inna Yajuj wa Ma'juj mufsiduna fil ard. And then the Quran goes on to say that when they are released, something will happen in the world. Let me repeat it one more time. An event which will occur will be a unique event in human history. It never happened before, and it will never happen again. Only once. وَهُمْ مِنْ كُلِّ حَدَبٍ يَنْسِلُونَ. These people with immense power, which they use to oppress and to corrupt, will then spread out in all directions, everywhere in the world. And when they do that, only then would these people be brought back to that town. Which town is it? It is as plain as daylight that the town is Jerusalem. It is as plain as daylight that those who were released into the world and who had this power, and they used the power to oppress and to corrupt, when these people spread out all over the world, they went to India, they went to Africa, they went to China, they went all over the world. They took control of power in the world. Then they brought the Jews back to Jerusalem to reclaim it as their own. And so if this is the reality which we confront today, we can well understand why political unity has not been possible. They want us all to enter into a godless melting pot. A godless melting pot in which the truth is no longer recognized as supreme, political supremacy. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to Dawood alayhi salam, فَاحْكُمْ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ بِالْحَقِّ, the truth must be established. The law which has come from Allah must be established as the supreme law. And they say no. The supreme law is our law. And they create something, you may have heard about it. It's called the United Nations Organization. And they say, our law is the supreme law. But Allah says, فَاحْكُمْ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ بِالْحَقِّ. The truth must be supreme. It was only Ahmad Sukarno, rahimahullah, the only one. Ahmad Sukarno of Indonesia, he took his country out of the United Nations. They not only gave us the United Nations Organization, but they also gave us something called the, you may have heard about it, International Monetary Fund. Allah gave us money. He gave us the dinar, which is in the Quran. He gave us the dirham, which is in the Quran. He gave us money which even after 300 years, that money could still buy the food, Surah Al-Kahf. So this is money with intrinsic value, not bogus, fraudulent, utterly haram paper money. And so they gave us the International Monetary Fund. And they said, his law is not the supreme law. Our law is the supreme law. That's what they said. And all of us entered into the International Monetary Fund. Yes. And the International Monetary Fund says in its Articles of Agreement that you are prohibited from using gold as money. You are prohibited from using gold as money. Prohibited from using gold as money. Allah made it halal and they made it haram. This is the reality that confronts us today. And praise be to Allah for Ahmad Sukarno. And this is in the 1950s. He took Indonesia out of the IMF. And we're waiting now. When will that day come? If we are serious about Muslim unity, if we are serious about Allah's law being the supreme law, what are we doing in the United Nations? If we are sincere and serious about Allah's law as the supreme law, what are we doing in the International Monetary Fund? It's time for us to wake up. Get out of their venomous embrace so that we can try to bring unity in our ranks.